Today, we're going to explore a global awakening to the Arirang Destiny. We'll uncover how a 600-year-old folk song holds the hidden biblical roots of the Korean peninsula, and perhaps even more surprisingly, why global sensation BTS is now broadcasting this profound message to the world. Let's first acknowledge the return of a cultural juggernaut. We're talking about an event that has captivated global attention, the release of BTS's fifth studio album, titled Arirang, set for March 20th, 2026. This marks a significant milestone, as it's the group's first full group return following a 5-year mandatory military hiatus. The demand has been unprecedented, with over 4.0 million pre-orders shattering previous records within the first week alone. And their footprint is massive: 82 stadium shows spanning 34 global regions. This raises an intriguing question. Why would the most anticipated pop comeback of the century be named after a traditional song of sorrow? To answer that, we need to consider unlocking the true meaning of a 600-year-old hymn. Commonly, Arirang is understood as Korea's ultimate song of deep sorrow, longing, separation, and resilience. With over 3,600 historical variations, it has served as a powerful rallying cry through centuries of hardship and colonial rule. But there's an etymological revelation that changes everything. Breaking down the word al is the ancient Korean word for the creator or God, cognate with the biblical Hebrew El or Elohim. Irang is a native Korean grammatical particle meaning with or together. Therefore, Arirang literally translates to with God. This profound discovery suggests it's not merely a song of human sorrow, but humanity's oldest surviving hymn of divine longing. This deeper understanding connects us to the Genesis divergence and the two Israels. From Noah's son Shem through Eber, a crucial divergence occurred, mentioned in Genesis 10:25. For in his days the earth was divided. This led to two distinct lineages. Peleg, whose descendants settled in the Middle East, were called the first runners of the gospel, tasked with opening the door of salvation to the ancient world. On the other side, Joktan's descendants ventured to the Far East, becoming the final runners of the gospel, tasked with closing out the global spread of the message in the modern era. This brings us to the Great Migration to the Eastern Mountains. Following the Peleg-Joktan divergence, Joktan's descendants embarked on a phenomenal journey, migrating from Mesha in the Middle East. Their path led them through treacherous terrain, including the Pamir Plateau linguistically, Pamaru, meaning high place of green onions, and across the Tian Shan and Altai Mountains, historically known as Har HaKedem, or the Eastern Mountains. Ultimately, they reached the Korean peninsula, specifically Baekdu Mountain. The line from the folk song, Arirang Arirang Arario, crossing over the Arirang Pass, was not a metaphor. It was a literal survival hymn, sung by Joktan's descendants as they crossed these lethal mountain ranges, enduring their journey with God. The Korean peninsula bears unmistakable fingerprints of an ancient origin. Consider the stone altars. Korea holds over 40% of the world's dolmens. Archaeological evidence suggests these were not mere tombs, but massive ancient altars built for Jihyun, sacrifices to the creator, mirroring biblical altars. Then there's the white-clad race, a persistent, millennia-long national preference for wearing white garments. This reflects a deep-seated priestly identity and a cultural demand for spiritual purity while awaiting divine reunion. And finally, the Taegukgi, Korea's national flag, mathematically encodes the Genesis narrative. Its 4 trigrams represent heaven, corrupted earth, water, and the restorative light or fire, symbolizing a profound ancient understanding. Korea's unique position makes it the ultimate geopolitical broadcasting hub. Geographically, Korea sits at the precise center of the world's largest landmass, Eurasia, and its largest ocean, the Pacific. This strategic location creates an ancient parallel. Just as the first Israel was perfectly positioned at the crossroads of the ancient Mediterranean world to start the message, the modern reality is that the second Israel, Korea, is perfectly positioned at the technological and cultural crossroads of the modern world to finish it. This convergence of ancient and modern finds its expression in modern vessels for an ancient longing. In the modern pop context, BTS's stated intent is exploring identity and roots, associated with emotions of connection, distance, and reunion. The painful 5-year hiatus due to military service powerfully mirrors the deep sorrow, or Han, of the Korean people. This resonates with an ancient echo the nation's long history of invasion, exile, and holding out for restoration. The profound bond BTS shares with their global fanbase, ARMY, acts as a modern reflection of the Arirang, or with God, longing for ultimate reunion. This message will be transmitting from the heart of the peninsula. HYBE chairman Bang Si-hyuk made a strategic decision, insisting that the global broadcast for BTS's comeback happen at Gwanghwamun, the most historically iconic space in Korea, to emphasize the group's origins and the nation's heritage. The execution will be BTS The Comeback Live Arirang on March 21, 2026, marking Netflix's first-ever live music broadcast from Korea. This is highly significant. The ancient Eastern Terminal, where Joktan's descendants finished their migration, has now become the epicenter of modern global media. Through this, the ancient hymn goes global. With a tour scope of 82 stadium shows across 34 global regions, touching cities from London to Tokyo, New York to Sydney, the global impact is undeniable. Search traffic for Seoul spiked 155% immediately upon the tour's announcement. This phenomenon is no longer just K-pop. It is a mass cultural export of Han and Arirang. Millions of global fans are, perhaps unwittingly, memorizing and broadcasting the ancient hymn of Joktan's descendants, carrying its profound meaning across continents. To summarize, we see two lineages, one global story. The first Israel, from the Peleg lineage, located in the Middle East. The ancient crossroads had the divine calling to open the door of global salvation. Their historical trajectory involved enduring exile, diaspora, and physical return, providing the foundational theology of the Western world. In contrast, the second Israel, from the Joktan lineage, in the Far East or Korea, the modern technological hub has the calling to finalize the global spread of the message. Their historical trajectory saw them endure centuries of invasion, hidden in the mountains as the white-clad race. Today, they operate as a cultural juggernaut, with K-culture and BTS bridging the East and West, fulfilling their ancient purpose. Ultimately, we are witnessing the awakening of a forgotten calling. Korea is not a nation suffering from historical amnesia. It is a nation finally awakening to its original biblical calling. From the brutal mountain passes of the Altai to the glowing screens of a global Netflix broadcast, the song remains the same, carrying the message, with God, as proclaimed on the BTS Gwanghwamun comeback banner in March 2026. Until the story that started with me resonates around the world.